We're all familiar with the Disney Pixar movie Finding Nemo, the story of a father whose son is taken away from him and his journey across the ocean to get him back. One of the most memorable things about the movie is the stunning images of the coral reef community Nemo and his father Marlin live in. The waving sea anemone they live in, the ocean drop-off where Nemo touches the butt. These beautiful scenes are obviously based on one of the best-known coral reefs in the world, the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. But this reef, like so many others around the world, is in danger of events known as coral bleaching. But what is coral bleaching, and how can we combat it? Please join me in our journey of finding coral. Coral bleaching is a stress response corals have against anthropogenic and natural events. Anthropogenic, or human-caused, events can include pollution and runoff, over-exploitation, and damaging fishing techniques, while natural causes can include violent storms and diseases. But to better understand what this definition means, let's first discuss what corals are. Corals are a part of the phylum Cnidaria, which is also home to organisms such as jellyfish and that sea anemone that Nemo and Marlin live in. Corals themselves are made of calcium carbonate, which is what gives them their hard structure. They also have little friends called zooxanthellae that live inside their individual coral polyps as a symbiotic relationship. The zooxanthellae provide nutrients and energy through photosynthesis, while the coral protects them with their calcified exteriors. Zooxanthellae are also what gives the corals their rich, vibrant colors as the coral themselves are clear. So if the coral themselves are clear, and their color comes from the zooxanthellae, how can the corals be bleached? Well, as mentioned before, bleaching is a stress response coral have against anthropogenic and natural causes. These damaging events cause the zooxanthellae to be killed off. As reported by Jason Buchenheim, the corals usually lose about 60 to 90% of their zooxanthellae when they undergo a bleach, which in turn lose about 50 to 80% of their pigments. If the stress event is not severe and decreases over time, the corals can regain their color in several weeks to a few months. But if the stress event continues, the zooxanthellae cannot recover and the host coral dies. As humans continue to pollute the earth and global warming continues to increase, more and more coral bleaching events occur. The corals have a limited temperature range in which they can live, and the biological processes of the zooxanthellae are disrupted when they are out of those temperature ranges. As the earth continues to heat up, more and more bleaching events occur. This map shows the global bleaching events over the past 50 years, from January 1963 to May 2015. As you can see, there is a significant amount of red dots, which indicate high numbers of coral bleaching. Yellow is moderate, blue is low numbers, and green means no bleaching occurred. The number of colored dots on this map is expected to increase as global warming continues to rise. So what can we do to combat this problem? Well, a 2018 study showed that the microbiome in corals can be altered to lessen the effects of the bleaching and minimize coral deaths. They were able to isolate coral species from the Indo-Pacific Ocean, and using the beneficial microorganisms for corals, or BMCs, they were able to show the corals were able to resist the bleaching factors that were introduced to their controlled aquarium 26 days prior. Other small-scale projects that can be used to counteract bleaching events can be the utilization of artificial reefs to grow back and reintroduce species that were killed in a bleach. These artificial reefs continue to be effective in growing populations of corals worldwide. Obviously, the best way to make serious change would be on a large global scale. As Little Dicky points out in his latest music video about climate change, all of the threats we face as a planet can be reversed if we just take actions. Small everyday changes can save not only the coral reefs, but the entire world.